would you describe the actual situation of the energy economy at the moment?
Well, I think it's the, let's say, most exciting time ever in the energy business. We are seeing a massive transformation taking place. We see a lot of new opportunities happening. But of course also that poses a lot of challenges. But then when you go through transition, that's what happens. But I would say from an excitement point of view, I don't think it has been ever as excited as it is right now.
You have just published your report. Where do you see the future energy landscape going to?
In our energy transition outlook, we basically see some very important themes. The first thing is we see a world which is decarbonizing and it's electrifying, meaning that the uptake of renewables is going to be very, very strong, and we see electrification being a bigger part of the total energy mix. But we also see energy efficiency, something which is maybe a little overlooked in the discussions, that the way we're going to consume the energy, because we digitalize, things integrate, everything becomes much more efficient buildings, smart meters, etc., etc. So energy efficiency is also an important part of the transition.
Could you sum up the key findings of your report? What did you find out?
Well, I think some of the very important key findings, we launched it in September last year, and now 4 months later we can sort of say what is it that people really got, let's say, surprised by. I think first is that the cost of renewables is so low now, and that's why the implementation is going so fast. Secondly, that with the uptake of electrical vehicles is going to be pretty robust, which again is going to have a big impact on the energy industry because of the cost of batteries is going down a lot. We also see that the total energy demand in the world is probably going to peak around 2030, which is something we have never seen before basically in mankind, because we always get used to energy consumption goes up. But that has to do with energy efficiency, more efficient systems, etc. So I think sometimes people say it's very hard to predict. But the underlying thing we are looking at is really to say the future cost is what we have been looking at. So this is not a, let's say, ideology that we put forward. This is based upon the expected cost of everything. And then we presume that people will react in a rational way and say, well, if it's so cheap, then I will use it. And that's why I think when many people have been wrong-footed in the past is that we have underestimated how fast technology develops and how cheap it becomes fast. So I think that will be kind of the highlights.
Here in Germany you see a lot that there's the old industry and the new industry in the economy. What do you think? How are they getting along, and where do you see the future in that?
Well, I think industries have to work together. And I don't see old and new industries. What I see is that when you combine the things, you get a new and better solution for everybody. So it's important to say you have people in the energy space. You also got people outside the energy space who are starting to become a player. It is the consumers, it is companies who are maybe traditional in supermarkets who are now doing their own investments into energy. So I think we are going to see a new landscape. But the interesting thing is that energy is part of everybody's agenda. And I think that's a very good opportunity whether you consider yourself to be a new or old player. I think the key question is that you also have to understand that we all need to play differently. And if we play differently and we cooperate, that's where you create all the new opportunities.
What do you think are the implications for the German stakeholders? What should Germany do?
Well, Germany has done a tremendous job in investing over the last 20 years into renewables. And I know it has sometimes been very controversial, what is the cost? But it's important to remember now that after these 20 or more than 20 years, we're now at a stage where Germany really can start to harvest for all the investments that Germany have done. And actually, as the whole world is really starting to embrace this agenda, I think it's important that Germany remember that there's a lot of export opportunities associated with all the experience that Germany have gained. So I think it's important that Germany remember that there are a lot of opportunities outside Germany, and that a lot of people would like to come to Germany to learn. And this is where there may be some new opportunities apart from just what's going on inside Germany. And that is, I think, a potential that Germany can exploit much further.
And what would your advice be for German energy businesses? What would you tell them to do?
Well, I think Germany is the most important player in the EU when it comes to the future energy policies. And let's say the action from German companies inside Germany and outside Germany and in the EU is going to be very important for the energy transition. So I think it's really looking at the opportunities, because the world will go electric. The world will decarbonize much more, and Germany has already have a lot of experiences. So I would say it's interact together inside Germany, but also outside Germany, and look at all the new opportunities. And maybe try to forget that, yes, it has been very expensive to get to where we are now, but now the time is to harvest for all the things that have happened over the last 20 years.